Oh, well, that's cool. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, I would say pardon my crazy look, but this is it. So that lens is clean though. Okay, so today we're gonna go ahead and make a wedding guest dress because I've got a wedding to go to this weekend, and in true fashion, I have nothing to wear, of course. Um, oh, they've got filters. Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted, y'all. Look, there's bubbles. Okay, I'm sorry. Why is that glamour? All right, I swear I'm gonna stop messing with this. I'm sorry. So in true me form, I do not have anything to wear, so we're gonna go ahead and make it. I'm going to be combining two patterns together in order to make this happen. I did do a Pinterest search, and based off of my Pinterest search, I was like, you know what? I know exactly what I'm gonna make. I went outside to my garage. I shopped my stash for my fabric. So let me show you guys that first. So because it is fall, we're going for a nice, like, little velvet situation. I feel like the floral is nice. It's a Catholic wedding. So I'm going to be making something. I don't want to say that it's like super covered up, but it's definitely going to give way appropriate. I was wanting to do something that had like a little drape situation in the front. Good morning. I know that's right. Dejanay said I was waiting for you. I'm here. I'm here. Tardy for the party because I forgot to charge my phone last night, so I had to get it to a point where I knew that if I went live for a couple hours, it would be able to withstand the test of time. But I was like, for this look, I definitely want a little drape situation in the front. I knew that I wanted to have a square top, so I'm mashing a couple of patterns. And I don't even know if that's going to ultimately be what we end with because I was like, oh, we're running, like, I only have, I think, maybe 2 yards of this, which is beautiful. Apparently, I'm really into this whole, like, I'm getting into this velour. It's going to be a nice warm look. Um, but let's say a prayer that we have enough fabric for what I'm envisioning in my head. If we do not, then the first thing that I'm going to let go of is the sleeves. We're going to be either strapless, which I feel like is a moment, right? We can be strapless, and I can put on a blazer with it. I think that that would be a good look. Or I might just have straps, like a thicker strap. So I'm gonna go ahead and naturally clear off my cutting area. Y'all, this is all the stuff from the kids' backpacks. What are we even doing here? So let's get ready to rumble. I keep forgetting that they took my garbage can out of my office. You guys, shout out to the parents all over the world. That's all I can say, okay? Oh, but also I got my son's progress report from school. Straight A's. We are celebrating that because when I tell you that everyone's been getting on my nerves, I mean it. So we're gonna stick that in the bag with his Halloween costume for right now. We're gonna cut. We do need coffee this morning. Um, you guys, when I tell you that, like, you guys ever have like those moments where you're just like, what is life and how am I getting this done? I kind of feel like that's been my year. Um, like yesterday, I feel like that kind of came to a head. I was just like, you ever have like those moments where you're just like, I'm making it. Good morning, Jill. Good morning, Catrice. Good morning, Limitless Creations. I know that's right. Y'all will hold me accountable because last week when I was not on YouTube, y'all were like, you said you were gonna be on YouTube and you're not on YouTube. We are gonna try to make this go fairly quickly. We're gonna do the best that we can with what it is that we got in truth. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna be we'll make it work. It's fine. We're gonna make it work. So the skirt that I'm using, I'm going to be using the the Kelli skirt. So this is the front piece. I've got the back piece. We're going to say a prayer that we have enough. We also might adjust the length, because 2 yards for the idea that I have is probably, quite possibly, not enough yardage. But again, the only thing that we learned from Tim Gunn is make it work. So that's what we're gonna do. So right now I've got the skirt piece that is pulled up. Let's go ahead and get you guys into your proper tripod. I cannot wait for coffee this morning. I can't decide whether or not we're going to do iced coffee or if we're going to be doing our normal brew. But I tell you what, your girl is excited about coffee this morning. Okay, so let's go ahead, pop this up. We're cutting this, y'all, with a hope and a prayer. Very excited because this week we've got class for how to make adjustments. There we go. Okay. We've got class for how to make adjustments using your projector. Very, very, oop. You see that? This almost got me caught up, y'all. It tried to get me, but it couldn't. Okay. That was like not fruitful. But yeah, we've got class coming up this weekend for us. For the projector peeps who are like, yes, it's time to make adjustments, make sure my things fit properly. So we have that coming up. Very excited. Okay, so I'm gonna put up our fabric. And because of how the skirt piece is going to work, and I do not want to color block this, so that's why I'm really working hard to see if I can make fetch happen, especially because I feel like I would be open to color blocking this, like if I had like a navy like little velour situation, but I don't. I only have like black, and that's like it. So I really do not want to color block at all. So we really just need for this to fit. Where did I just put my rotary cutter that fast? Golly. Dang, just that quickly? Thank goodness I have so many. That could be a problem. All right. So my goal is to definitely have it be floor length, because that's always my preference with skirts and dresses. I like, now we will on occasion do a little mini situation, but my always preference, y'all, is always going to be like a floor length maxi situation. I do feel like it's giving drama, right? Plus, I also think that my husband's going to be wearing navy blue. I don't think he's decided what he's wearing just yet. So it's actually his coworkers. Oh, you know what? I should have cut this completely different, but you know what? It's fine, because I can probably cut the top out from this skirt part that I'm about to cut. But it's his coworker's wedding. Oh, yes, because I'm going floor length. Okay. It's his coworker's wedding. Let's see. How much of my snatch am I trying to snap? Not much, because it's a Catholic wedding, y'all. So we're going to his coworker's wedding. I'm excited because he started this job, of course, during the pandemic. So I haven't had a chance to meet any of his coworkers. So I'm like very geeked out about that. I can't wait to say hello, but I also feel like I got to make sure your girl is like, you know, like looking amazing. Okay, so we got that cut, our skirt piece. Now we're going to go on to our second skirt piece. Now this part is being like ruched, so it looks a little odd, and it's definitely kind of hanging off the side a little bit. So the way that I cut this skirt is going to be with a hope and a dream. Just being honest with you all. I'm really trying to, yeah, when I tell you I'm really just trying to win at Fabric Tetris, because I need to win at Fabric Tetris, y'all. Your girl needs to win at Fabric Tetris. I think we got it though. Okay, let's see here. The good thing is that I don't need for it to be as wide, because again, okay, so I'm going to pull this up some. Let's just make sure that we have this flush up here. As I did my research on Pinterest, of course, it feels like this velour. The velour is what is in this season, y'all. Velour, you have a wedding, this is what you need in your life, apparently. This is what the internet girlies are saying we need. So, got that. Got that. And now I am going to be grading out some. And so I can't, damn it, knock that over again. I'm going to have to get one of these kids to get back there and get that for me. I can't see where I'm grading out to, but again, it's okay. Why do I say it's okay? Because, oops, sorry, I just stepped on the thing. Because I have a good idea of kind of where it needs to go, because I've made this pattern before. And again, we're making it semi-modest, right? We can't be out here showing all of everything. Gotta leave a little bit to the imagination. Okay. So now I'm going to pull this up so that we can finish cutting. I need to line it up with my curves, because that's our only point of reference, really. Okay, that looks good. The main thing that I want to make sure of is that it's not pulling down at this bottom area, because if it does, then that will throw the length off. And that's not really what I want. All right, so we got our second piece cut. I feel like we're making good space, okay? Now let's get our back piece cut. This is being cut 2 mirror images. Now I'm really like, where did I put my other piece at? Okay. I feel like space-wise with our fabric, we're in a decent space, because because it is possible for me to go ahead and make this sleeveless. I do wish that I had some more fabric left, but it's okay, because we will make this work. But lengthwise, I'm going to be able to get the full skirt pieces out. And honestly, that is what's important. The skirt is what we're using to give us the drama. Okay. All right. Of course, one of the questions that I do get asked is why I don't use fabric weights. I do use fabric weights if I feel like the fabric that I'm using calls for it, but honestly speaking, most of the time, the fabrics that I use kind of pretty much stay in place. But if I am, like, say, cutting a jacket and the fabric is thicker and I need for it to be flat, especially along that edge area, I do have my fabric weights out for me to just easily reach over and grab. And because this is like the sway back has already been built in, I am going to go ahead and mark my side that needs to be sewn together versus the side that is going to be sewn like front to back, if that makes sense. So that's my marking point. Good morning, Key. Okay, so we got the back piece cut. Y'all, we're doing good. We're making great space here. So now we've got to exit because I'm switching patterns. Come on. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my computer has gone black on me. We'll give her a second. So I don't think that we're going to be able to do the sleeves that I would like. We might be able to because, again, like, I'm using a different pattern, so we'll see. And I'm going to be doing a built-in bra situation, which I don't have to use the same fabric for. I'm going to be doing that in a black peach performance. So we might be able to make fetch happen. I don't know. So we're going to be using this here pattern. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to just kind of line my fabric up to see like what we have. You know what I mean? Just to kind of see if we can. Okay, this is that piece. Okay, these pieces, which I just completely messed up. It's fine. Okay. So what I want to see first is if I can cut my front and back pieces out of this small piece that we have here. I am just going to go ahead and cut it though. I'm going to cut it as though I do have enough space for my sleeves, because if I can get this small part, this part here, and we're going to go for the lower cut because we will be giving a little bit of titty, right? I feel like something that is obviously causing me, I am going to put my pattern weights down here. I do feel like if I'm over here being like terrorized about these titties, we're going to show them. Okay. All right. So we've got, and again, I am just going to go ahead. I don't know, man. Now I'm really doubting this because, you know, I get sweaty. I don't know. We'll cut it. We'll see. But, you know, your girl gets super sweaty. So, I don't know. I also don't want to be, like, up in here sweating. You know what I mean? And, like, having my husband be like, ooh, girl, we should have done sleeveless. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. We'll cut it out as though we're going sleeved. We'll plan for that, and we'll see what happens. So that's the front piece. And we did a low front. We're also going to do a low back because why not? Okay. I do want to see if I can cut my sleeves out of that piece there. I don't. Let's actually measure these sleeves out. Let's just see. Because I feel like maybe if I do a 3/4 length bell sleeve, that could work, right? It's like, it's giving me what I need. And maybe it's just not going to be quite as voluminous. We'll see. Let's see what the fabric says to us. So. Okay. I know, y'all. I feel like we're making fetch happen here. So we have enough for the 3/4 length sleeve. So I do think that we're just going to go for it. We'll put on some extra swipes of deodorant. And we'll just hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, it's fitting. So I feel like that's a sign it was meant to be. You know? And then I do have enough for the back. Even if I have to like weirdly finagle it, there's enough fabric. Okay, so, and I do need to make sure that I have the marking for our back piece because our arm size are different. So I want to make sure I do that. Okay. So we've got our sleeves cut out. I'm a little excited about the dramatic sleeve. Little excited that we were able to make that happen. Okay, now let's go back to our back bodice piece. Okay, so our back bodice, line that up so it's closer to the edge. All right, we are really gonna work hard to make this happen. And again, this is gonna get a little while with our cut. So the back of this pattern does not call for it to have a seam. It's gonna have a seam though. I can barely see these lines, but I need to make sure that I get my right sides together. And I'm gonna have to find, in essence, like a piece of fabric that is wide enough for me to cut this. But I think I can do it. Where there's a will, friends, there's a way. So that's one back piece. And then I really feel like this can fit this piece of fabric here. And it does. Let's just tear that off. So we're just going to add an extra seam in the back and it'll be fine. I'm cutting a little bit more like near that fold area in order to make sure that I leave space for a seam allowance. Ooh, scared me. I feel like whenever it pops, it's like that reminder. Like, girl, it's too much pressure. All right, so now let's just cut our lining pieces, and then it's time for coffee. So, boom. Like, we literally have just like strays. That's it. Okay, so let me pull out this fabric here. So we're going to be lining it in this black Peach for Performance. The good thing about Peach Performance is that it does absorb. Like it's moisture absorbent, moisture wicking. So in the event that your girl does get a little sweaty, sweat happens, at least I'll have something underneath that will be able to absorb it, and it won't be as thick as it will not be as thick as the fabric that is on the outside. So this is the front lining piece that we're going to cut first. And again, we're doing low front to show some titty, low back to show some back. I always hate, I have to reline this up so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. So that's our lining piece for the front. Let's line it up for the back. Now this is a pattern that actually can be color blocked really easily because color blocking options were built into the pattern. So if I did need to color block it, I could have, and I could have done it in a way that was, of course, organic to the pattern. But we all know your girl doesn't love to color block all the time. All right, and so here we go with our back lining piece. Just gonna mark that as the back. Put that little notch there. Boom. All right, so now it's coffee time, and your girl feels like she earned it. We've got to prep our, come on, Key, with this. Don't forget to like the live. Thank you, girl. Okay, so that was that. We did it. It's funny because this morning I was like, man, why isn't it turning? Okay, there we go. This morning I was like, I have no idea what I'm making. And then I was like, oh, snap. I got to go to a wedding. I have something to make. So, and then it's also UN day for my kids tomorrow. I think we're going to go with iced coffee again today. I'm feeling very warm. So it's UN day for my kids. That means mommy's got to make something. So I was going to do that, but that did not win. All right, so we're going to be doing that instant coffee hack again because I enjoyed it so much last time. Also, I still have no idea why I don't have, you guys, I really don't know why I don't have tablespoons. I'm like, what is this? How many tablespoons are in a cup? How many tablespoons are in a cup? Who's good at this? Oh, well, welcome, Soist. I pretty much only cut with Projector unless I'm feeling like I don't love myself, and then I will cut out a tissue pattern. But also, the Simplicity website is having a sale right now The sale does include the Know Me patterns. So if you were like, hey girl, I really do like want to get into projector sewing, or I would really like to have more of my patterns on projector, but I'm a tissue paper sewist. Right now on Simplicity's website, they are on sale. So I went and bought some Simplicity. I went and bought some of the patterns that I've been wanting for some time now, as far as like the ones that like Mimi has done that I didn't have. Also, it's easier for me to make adjustments to my patterns on there. I also feel like a quarter cup, that's like the same thing as 4 tablespoons, right? Somebody please tell me. That's what we're gonna go with. Maybe it's a half a cup. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Got our milk frother. 16 tablespoons in a cup. So I think I was right. So a half cup. Ooh, maybe not. And I needed 4 tablespoons, so I need 1/4 of a cup versus the half cup that I put in, right? I don't know, y'all. It's frothing up for me. Thank you. Y'all, this is getting mad frothy, so I feel like we were on the right thing. Four tablespoons is a quarter cup. Okay, so I doubled it up. I knew I was right with my first one. But that's fine, because you know what? That just means that I use less of the creamer, and I don't really love sweet. So I think that'll be fine. But like, okay, so my kids are obviously young, and we like to do science experiments. So one of the things that I was telling them about, because they were like, well, how does that get frothy that way? And so just like how I was talking to you guys when I made it on Tuesday, I was like, the reason why it gets frothy and it grows this way is because this is what happens when you introduce water at a high speed into water molecules. Like, they expand. They were like, what? I was like, yes, you're welcome. You guys get to do science experiments with mommy's coffee. Everybody froth some coffee. So if you have young ones and you're looking for different ways to entertain them while having your coffee, you're welcome for that little lesson, okay? So I'm going to add some ice. Because I used to homeschool, everything is a lesson around here. So what I just remembered that I forgot to do is I did not put the markings on the skirt pieces. So that skirt piece is going to come together. We're going to put it together with a hope and a prayer that we did it the right way. That's all we can say about that. So again, we're using this non-dairy creamer. It's almond milk and oat milk in a caramel macchiato situation. And I was able to add way less. All right, friends, let's get to sewing now. So I don't have blue thread, so we're going to be using black thread. For someone whose favorite color is blue, I cannot believe that I don't have blue thread, but whatever. You guys, this coffee is so good. So we've got to switch to blue threads. I do actually have navy in my Orfil thread collection. So we'll use this for hemming and things like that. And the first thing that we're going to do is, I think we're going to build our top part first, which of course does include our sleeves and things like that. And then from there, we're going to move on to the skirt. It's going to go together very, very quickly because y'all already know, one, I sew fast. Two, we're here for a good time, not a long time, okay? So for the sleeves, we are not going to leave them blowy because they are a bishop sleeve. I do have to cut some elastic. And so if you're like watching this replay and you're like, hey girl, I do want to sew this, make sure that you do have 1/4 inch elastic available to you, so that way you can go ahead and hem those sleeves as you see fit, because we're going to hem them, create our elastic casing, and then of course we're going to go ahead and thread our elastic through. That will likely be our final step. For those wanting to know what patterns I used in order to create this hack, I'm using the Scarlett pattern from Made for Mermaids, and I will make sure that all of these links are definitely in the caption area. And then we're using the skirt piece for the Kelli dress from Patterns for Pirates. And the Kelli dress does have like a little, it's got like a draped situation in the front. It's very similar to my early spring pattern. But my early spring pattern, of course, is drafted for knits. For wovens, this is drafted for knits. So I'm going to go ahead and start by changing my threads. I still have these gray threads in. Y'all, one of the things that people will often feel like they have to do is make sure that their threads literally match every project. And I want you to know that that is not a thing. Like, you don't have to have all of your threads match. If you have rose colored threads for spools, gray, black, and white, that will, generally speaking, be everything that you need to get started with serging. As opposed to trying to find threads in every single color, right? Pretty much all of those colors will pick up whatever color it is that you actually need and be able to, kind of seamlessly fit in without it standing out and making it seem like you do in fact need to change your threads. So that is just a heads up for people who are getting started with serging, so that you don't feel like you always have to have threads that match. Those are the best ones to start out with in your serger journeys. And like I said earlier, there's definitely color threads that I don't have. And it's primarily because I just don't sew a lot of that color. So, hey, milkshake, move, girl. Girl, my goodness. Milkshake, of course, is over here being Milkshake. Also, those who are new, I sew on a Bernina L890 for my serger and cover stitch. It is a combination machine. I'm going to go ahead and thread it real quick. The beautiful thing about this machine, and I'll put you guys in front of me. The beautiful thing about this machine is that, you know how like with the Brother machines, I think my Juki, you had to do it too. You have to thread it in a certain order. You don't have to do any of that with the Bernina. The Bernina accepts you as you come. It's also air threading, which means that there's none of that loop-de-loop. I used to kind of like have, not like a song, but like I used to thread it. Golly. Ooh, somebody's been using this serger. Excuse me, Bernadette. I'm sorry, you girl, you mess. Oh gosh. We're just gonna do a quick wipe down. We need to vacuum her out. But just for today's purposes, sorry, Bernie, I didn't know that you were so dirty, sis. Yes, I talked to my machines. Okay. Now that she's been wiped down, I do think that if you are planning to be a knit sewist, upgrading to a air threading machine is definitely helpful. One of the things that I used to hate was threading my machines. So I used to actually have 4 or 5 machines that were out, each threaded with different colors. My Juki at the time was the easiest for me to thread, so that was the only one that I would change the threads for. I did also have a Singer. So like right now I have, I think 5 or 6 sergers, and then I have 2 cover stitches. And I would just keep one in black. Like that was just always sorted in black. There we go. And then threading. This one does have like a little automatic threader that it comes with. I do love how like the toolkit for this machine is kind of like built in. And I think that that not only keeps it easy to keep up with like your tools, but it just makes things a lot easier. So it comes with this like automatic threader, which I did not think that I needed, because I was like, I can see. Just also, I can't see very well. So I don't know why I was like, oh, I don't need an automatic threader. I just want to say that this automatic little threader tool saved my life. Tweezers and this automatic threader are 2 things that I did not know that I needed in my life. Like, I think that tweezers are one of the most slept on sewing notions out there. Because they make everything so easy. So threading my machine, she's already set up on a 4 thread interlock. So let me see. Yeah, this is fine. Y'all can see. All right, so first up, we're gonna just go ahead and knock out. You guys already know that I'm just gonna go for whatever is on top as far as sewing. The iced coffee is hitting. So I'm gonna just take our lining pieces and do that first. So we're starting out, of course, with our shoulder seams together. I need to empty my cup, but again, my family took my took out my damn garbage can. Okay. I really have a good feeling about how this dress is going to come out. I don't necessarily, like, I love making dresses. I don't always love wearing them because my thighs rub together. A brand reached out and wanted to work together. So, I am going to be wearing their product underneath this. So I think that that will make a difference. Okay, so we've got our front piece here, and now we've got to put together our back piece. So we've got back piece number 1. Where's our second back piece? Okay, so we've got sleeves. Now, y'all know I will lose pieces, so put these to the side. Okay, so again, for our back pieces, we're going to be sewing down that side seam, down that center seam, which honestly, I kind of feel like is good because we've got a center back seam as well. And so when it comes time to line up the top and the bottom pieces, I think that it's going to be really good because it'll make it that much easier to line those things up. Also, it'll make it a lot easier for me to make sure that I'm like lining things up. You know what I'm saying? So, line this up. Then I'm just going to line it up down at the bottom. I feel like this like little dress is going to be a vibe. I don't get dressed up often because like, where am I going? You know, like I'm a mom. And I don't want to be like, I'm a mom. And because I'm a mom, I have nowhere to go. But it's more like I'm an introvert who likes to be at home. kind of mom. So that's our back piece. Let's get our main fabrics together. We're gonna, again, line this up at our shoulder seams. And let me actually see, because I can face this down so that this makes more sense. Let me turn the, let's see. Oh, it's just the cut. No, yeah, it's like, I thought that I set this up properly so that we could do it this way. And I did. We'll just, I feel like that's good. Good morning, Katrina. Okay, I feel like that's a look, right? We can see well. I brought down my iPad so that I could also watch at the same time to make sure that this was making sense. So let's go ahead, log in here. Like YouTube. Dang, I don't ever watch YouTube on my iPad. I had to re-download it. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and do our shoulder seams, because that's the step that we were at. Now, again, I do not read tutorials often. I do read them sometimes. I did not read this one, though. But also, full disclosure, like, I also feel like once you put together, you know, like one square neck top, and honestly, this square neck top is probably not going to be as square neck as like some might be, because I'm going to be using my serger on it as opposed to a sewing machine. But you know, once you learn how to put one together, right? Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and line our right sides up together between our front and our back pieces. I'm like, let me make sure that there's nothing inappropriate going on over here. Okay, so this is our back piece. And then I did mark the back piece, excuse me, on here. Thought I did. So if your pieces ever get confused and you're like, how am I supposed to keep track of this, right? One of the things that I do think is helpful is in making sure that you know that your front piece dips down. Oops. Let's mute myself. Oops. No, go down. There we go. Okay. So there we go. Set up to watch. Okay, great. So I am going to go ahead because we're going to sew all the way around this neckband perimeter. So all the way around this perimeter here. So I like to start on my, like on my sleeve area, or rather where these seams meet is normally where I'm going to start. And that's simply because I think it's just easier that way. Now, if you like for a square neck top, if you are like, I really want my square to be squaring, I really want it to be squared off, I highly recommend doing this part on your sewing machine, unless you are well versed with how to do sharp edges on your serger, because it is absolutely possible. I can normally get a sharp edge if I'm paying close attention. I don't know if today's going to be that day because I'm live, but one can hope. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I used to be like, huh, why would I ever care so much to have my threads match like my fabric? But y'all, the way that that shit just looks so sexy to me now, I'm like, ooh. Like I'm looking at the black thread on this black lining thread, and I'm like, okay, girl, that looks good. Because it does. I got my nails done yesterday. They're giving spooky. In case you need to see, we've got our spooky nails. All right. So now if I were to do if I were going to be doing like a tank top, then at this point in time is where I would be doing like my burrito roll. I am not doing that though. So what I am going to do, because I've got my tails left on, I'm going to tie the tails together for the lining piece and for the main fabric. Why? Because I'm going to be putting in a sleeve. So because easing in your sleeve can sometimes be a little bit difficult for some people, I find that if I tie this together, it's going to stay together a little bit better, right? So I'm going to just continue to flip this out. And then I'm going to tie my tails on the other side as well, so that again, they're staying together. Like the staying together power is that much easier. So I'm just going to tie these tails together as well. Again, it just makes it, for me, it makes it that much easier because now we're functioning as though this lining piece and this main piece are one piece, okay? And already, your girl is in love. Like, I am loving how this is looking. I'm sorry I can't zoom out so that y'all can see even better, but you know, you guys will be able to see it on the flip side. Now, also, one of the things that you can do here is you can understitch this lining piece down if that is going to bother you. I think that it'll be fine for me because as I sew, like as you can see here, like you can't see the underside of the lining, but if I pull this lining down, it's going to force my top areas, like around this neck area, to kind of fold over a little bit so that you can only see the main fabric, which I think is important, right? So just special note to that. So now we're going to go ahead and put our sleeves on. We're going to be easing in our sleeves. And again, make sure that you have marked your front from the back pieces, because as we ease in, you want to make sure that your arm sleeves match up as best as possible. I did go ahead and mark the back right here. I feel like I feel like it's dirty. I feel like that lens is dirty. It could just be me. I feel like this cleaning might be excessive, but that feels better. Sorry about that, friends. It just looked a mess to me and I just could not deal with it any longer. Now that feels better. So again, I did put this notch in here for the back. Good morning. Is it Taya? I'm making a wedding dress, or a wedding guest dress. I am hacking 2 patterns together to create the dress of my quote unquote dreams that I will hopefully love to wear again. So again, I'm going to just clip this. I'm going to clip it at the sides because I'm going to be putting my sleeve piece in there. Now, whenever I'm putting in notches or marking, especially for sleeves, I only mark the back, but as a habit and as a practice, I only mark the back pieces for anything. And that's so if I ever see a notch, I automatically know that that is a back piece. And then also I marked the back piece on the sleeve as well. So I'm going to go ahead and clip this center notch here onto the center seams. Now, whenever you're easing your sleeve in and you've got a, pop that in there, and you have a lining piece, a main piece, and your sleeve piece, I highly, highly, highly recommend going very slow. One of the other things that you can do is you can baste together your, oh, it's tea just like the drink. Okay. Morning tea. So you can also baste this if that is your jam. Y'all already know I'm not here for extra steps. So I'm obviously not going to do that. So if you're like me, a YOLO sewist, just go slow. Just go slow. All right. Now, because I am being mindful that I have got 3 pieces of fabric here, I'm going to hold my hand just possibly a little bit differently. So that way, as I'm feeding the fabrics in, I'm being cognizant that all 3 pieces of fabric are being caught up in the thread, or rather in the stitch. Now, I love a puffy sleeve. I love a dramatic sleeve. One of the things that I am probably going to do, like I've got my hoodie pattern that's coming out. We've got puff in there. One of the things that I might do, like for that sleeve, during one of the versions that I make, is I might even add a little bit of tulle to just kind of like make it pop a little bit more. I think that will be really cute and give it some like extra puff, you know what I mean? Because like, oh, I love a dramatic sleeve, y'all. And also, like, as you're working with, like, if you are working with lining, especially putting in sleeves, right? Just go slow. Like, I hate to say, oh, just ease the sleeve in, right? Because it always reminds me of Schitt's Creek when they're talking about folding in the cheese. And it's like, what does that mean? It just means that you're going to have to go slowly to match the angles of your sleeve is all it means, essentially. So this is what this is looking like as far as our sleeve insert. Y'all, that seam, the seam is seaming. So I am going to go ahead and sew my side seam shut because I hate to have excess like fabric just kind of like flying around. It makes me feel overwhelmed and like I might sew something wrong. I am just going to make sure that this is nice and lined up. Again, making sure that I catch all of the pieces. Because the curves for the back look different than the curves for the front, you just want to make sure that you catch all of that. The front obviously is making the accommodation for having boobs, and the back is not, right? The back piece is typically a little bit more flat, a little bit more straight, whereas the front pieces have a little bit of bulge for boobs. Okay. And so this is what this is now looking like. It is, ooh. So we did one side. We've got our seam right here, which is looking fantastic. And then our side seam is also done, looking great. So now we're just gonna go ahead, pop this into our other sleeve as well. And again, we're just going to do it the same way that we did it before. I feel like bishop sleeves, like the shape of a bishop sleeve is kind of like a ghost. And that always makes me feel happy. So again, just clipping my center point in to there, into where that center seam is. We're starting out with the front arm seam now because we started out with the back one before. Again, lining things up. And so after we do this, we're going to move on over to Brenda, who is the B590. Yeah, I love an alliteration. So like my projector's name is Polly, obviously, right? Brenda, the B590, Bernadette, my Bernina L890. She just felt like a Bernadette and like she wasn't supposed to start with an L name. So we went with it. I will say, and I feel like no one talks about this though, like one side is always easier for me than the other. So like right now, I feel like I'm fumbling the bag because this side is harder for me. So if I had a glue stick, I would glue them together, but I don't have a glue stick in my office anymore because kids will take your stuff. And because I'm using a serger, I will not use pins because I have seen and heard far too many horror stories about people using pins, and next thing you know, they have to replace the knives on their machines. And I gotta be honest, my machine is just a little too expensive to have accidents, happy little accidents like that happen. So I just try not to have things like that happen. Girl is over here trying to focus. Got to focus hard on this sleeve. Ooh, who's talking outside? And everything is lining up beautifully, making this a lot easier for me because I swear lining this up was going to take me out. It did not. God saw it fit for me to sew another day. All right, so now that we've got that in place, let's go ahead and sew our side seams together. I really feel like this is going to just be so beautiful. Very simple. I like that I did not have to color block it. Like, we made fetch happen. Some people feel like using a projector, you can't, like, you know, get a good game of fabric Tetris going on. I always feel the opposite. Like, I always feel like because the pattern piece is already up, it's a lot easier for me to just play Tetris and see what fits. So we're going to go ahead and finish this side seam. Lining these things up nicely. And I'm just checking to make sure that it is indeed lined up well. Making whatever adjustments I need to make. All right, and so for right now, our top piece is done. So now we're gonna go ahead on over to Oh, this looks so good. And so even though there's a back seam, so I'm going to turn you guys around so that we can take a look, because what's the point in sewing and having immediate gratification if not to be immediately gratified by it? So here we have our front piece. We've got the front. We've got our sleeve. And then this is the back with the seam that you can't even see. Like, y'all, where is the seam? You can't even see the seam. So, feeling very strongly about this, loving how this is turning out. Now we're gonna go ahead and I am gonna go ahead because the okay, so this is this part. So this is the under part. Nothing gets done with this. This is the top part, which goes on top. We are going to have to I'm gonna pleat it because I want it to kind of have a more draped feel. So I'm going to end up pleating it. I did not mark, yeah, I did not mark where I was supposed to pleat in between. It's fine, we'll figure it out. But for right now, we do have to hem that. I am gonna sew together my two back pieces because again, we talked about this. We have a sway back adjustment that is built in. Did I lose my, no, okay. Whew, y'all. Okay, so when I put this down, I kind of put it down in a way where it got disconnected. And this looks right. Yeah, this looks right. So now we're gonna just go, I'm gonna just go ahead and pop a seam into here. So I'll turn this back around. So we're putting in our center back seam now. The reason why I'm doing it now is because I already lost the, like messed this up once. I don't wanna mess it up again, y'all. I'm so excited that we were able to fit this entire dress out of 2 yards of fabric because that's all I had. And I've had this fabric for so long, so I don't even know where I got it from. I think I got this fabric from Amanda's Bundles when it was So English. Okay, and so now we're just gonna finish this seam up. And honestly, I am very happy now that I've got that back seam on the top because I'm mashing sizes. So not only am I mashing sizes, but I'm mashing 2 different sizes from 2 different pattern companies. I'm gonna just go ahead and put a clip up here so that I know that this is the top. Because y'all, at this point in time, like I feel like everything is kind of looking the same. All right, so let's come on over to Brenda. We're gonna have to, we are gonna have to roll a new bobbin. So let's say good morning to Brenda because girlfriend is not even up. She's not even on, y'all. Oopsies. All right, so I'm gonna take this off. My son turned me into a paper airplane expert. Definitely was not intending upon becoming that, but yet here I am. So while she wakes up, let's go ahead and prepare her. Let's put the scissors. So also whenever you're changing, oopsies, whenever you're changing your threads out, make sure that you don't pull up, that you pull like through, because when you do that, you risk messing up your tension. You always want your thread to go through one way. So take that out. Let's see, should we go with this color, or I think I need to go with this one. This one feels closer to this like darkness that I need in here. And I am choosing to go ahead and just do this as a straight stitch as opposed to cover stitching it. Oh, look, I even have a bobbin semi ready. Okay. This feels right. I like that. We're gonna oil her up real quick. Everybody deserves to feel oiled, moisturized, lubricated, right? Put that bobbin back there. I have to clean up my sewing space because, y'all, it is just a mess. So, actually, somebody recently asked me if I really liked the way that the bobbin is set up on here. And I do. I like to be able to look in and see straight ahead. So I'm going to just drop one drop of oil there and into my bobbin case. And that's it. And that makes a world of difference. Now, not all machines need to be oiled. So you need to just be mindful and make sure that you're paying attention to what your machine actually needs. Because not all machines have as much steel and stuff like that on the inside. Bernina's do. Steel innards make it so that your machine lasts longer. A lot of the industrial machines and stuff like that they all have like the steel insides. You know what I'm saying? So those machines are going to last. All right, so we are going to go ahead and put this back on. And I'm going to put my seam gauge on because I want to make sure that it's perfect. Why? Because it's going to have to match from back to front. And I'm not hemming it together. So, oops. Here's the first piece that we're going to hem. Again, this is the piece that is at the top in the front. And I'm going to be extending my stitch length to be about 3. Whenever I'm hemming, I don't have it as, as short of a stitch as I do for construction. So I am hemming it at a 1/2 inch. Now this is a step that if you're into pins or clips or irons, I don't know if ironing would keep this kind of like flat because the type of fabric it is, but definitely memory press or using an iron with like some stitch witchery definitely would be helpful. But listen, as we do these projects on here, your girl is not doing anything extra. Hi, Julian. Girl is not going to do anything extra because we just don't have time. Because I'm not trying to make these lives long. Again, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So what I'm doing, I'm folding up my bottom piece. I really do want it to be metered, but I did not pre-prep for a metered edge, so I'm not going to bother with it. We're just going to fold it up. And I feel like there's like 1,001 of those cute little tutorials of here's how I do a metered hem. And I'm just like, these are fantastic. But unless you pre-prep for that, you know, and your girl wasn't pre-prepped. Your girl wasn't pre-prepped. Oh man, that's time. I accidentally sealed off my stitch before I was ready to, but it's actually fine because I was close enough to the end. All right, so now let's do the other front piece as well. And because I do prefer to be able to see how I'm hemming, Trisha, because I do prefer to see how I'm hemming, I do prefer to start out with my fabric face down so I can see. And again, it's fine to me if I don't start at the very beginning, even though again, I'm just going to fold this over. Where is my glue stick when I need it? I will say that like doing this with nails, way helpful. But I'm not going to bother with that. I'll fix that. We're just going to sew that straight. And then I'm just going to take it out and fold it up because what we're not going to do today is struggle on YouTube. Just don't have it in me to do that. Okay. There we go. Back like we never left. Uh-oh. I don't think I gave myself enough lead on this knit. I will say that I did not anticipate having such a busy weekend. So, I have a wedding to go to Saturday. I'm teaching my class on Saturday on how to make adjustments with your projector. And then I also am going over to my girlfriend's house for like girls' night. And I feel like I should be relaxing. You know, girls' night, yay. But then I came up with the idea. I was like, oh, we should make it a color party, y'all. Why I couldn't just be like someone who arrived to this party is besides me. Like, why I had to be like extra and be like, oh, let's do is really, really besides me. Like, why am I this way? Sometimes I really just wonder about myself, like, but, and I was like, I shouldn't go, but I've really been struggling this week, period. Um, like, you know how you have like those days, those weeks, etc., that are just like hard? Well, that's been my year. Um, and I'm just like, I really just kind of want to be relaxing. But even if I'm at home, I'm not relaxing. You know what I mean? Which kind of sucks because that is really what I would like. I would really just like to relax a little bit more. Um, but again, while I'm at home, that's not what's going to happen. You know, because you have kids, etc. So I was just like, okay, might as well be like out and about having a good time while stressed. You know what I'm saying? But this year has been like really tough. But also, it's not even just this year. Like, I feel like saying this year is almost like not even giving credit to the fact that I have been struggling for like a while. So let's see. This is the top. Let's go grab our skirt piece. Um, all right, so here's our back skirt piece that we're also just going to make sure gets hemmed because when we put this all together, y'all, that's it. It's together. Um, but I'm hoping that time away from the house and time away from my kids, time away from, you know what I'm saying, just time away will also be helpful to, um, you know, just de-stressing and kind of giving me what I need, if that makes sense. So even though, I don't know, y'all, like I feel a little stressed about going out this weekend. So we'll see. Um, but I was actually talking to my husband and Julian about this, like just, you know, it's hard to navigate kind of everything that I've been navigating this year, the past couple of years, um, and like be coming out unscathed, right? Like I feel like I wish I had more support from family, you know, um, especially with my kids, but like my kids are quite literally everything to me. So I would never like force them on someone who's not like, oh, I want to spend time with XYZ. Like I love that I have the best friends in the world. Like I was telling my husband last night about some conversations that I've been having with Julian, and about how I really appreciate having a space where I don't have to feel like I'm the expert. You know what I mean? And I think that's all right. Now it's time for us to line these things up. And I think that it's really good to, you know, of course, have the people who you can just like be your flawed self with. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we don't get that. Sometimes we don't have that. All right. So let's see here. Okay. Boom. So we have this is the underpiece, and we're not doing anything with the underpiece. Okay. So actually, let's go up to the we won't sit down and do this. Let's come up here. Clear this off. Thank you so much, Peach Performance, for serving your duty. All right, so we've got our back piece here. So these are our front pieces. This is the front piece that is like the underside piece, right? That makes sure that we don't show any snatch, right? That's our front side. And then this is the top part to this underside. I'm gonna just go ahead. I wish I had more clips, but I just literally knocked them down. So we're gonna go ahead, clip this together on this side anyway. And so I'm just gonna clip this together here, because we want to make sure that when I serge these together that I catch everything. And then I do also want to make sure that this top area is clipped together as well. Now, because I did not do my markings as far as what I needed to do in order to kind of like make this properly gathered, like, did I do this right? I feel like, no, this is definitely the top area, because we definitely can't be out here showing too much skin. But as you can see here, like this part is like hanging off. So this means that this is the area that I'm going to be kind of gathering, or in this case, I'm going to be pleating this. So that way it's got some drape coming across here. So I'm just going to add a tiny pleat here. And I think I want my pleats to go up. So I'm going to add just a tiny pleat there. And I only want like 2 or 3 pleats. Right? And then I'm going to do another one. Now, I would normally be gathering, but because my truth is that sometimes I really just do prefer the elegance of the pleat. And that's honestly what I feel like is in my spirit for this look here. And I can do another pleat. And again, I'm lining it up based off of what is kind of hanging off here because I did not mark it. And now these like little pleats, right, they can actually help determine how this garment drapes. So there's a reason why I have them going up, because I am enjoying the way that looks. And then of course this actually lines up perfectly. So I'm going to just go ahead and put another clip in there. So this is basically done. Now we're just going to go ahead and serge this. I've got my front piece of my skirt here. So we're going to go ahead and head on over back to Bernadette, and we're going to sew our right sides together. So we're back at Bern. Hey, girl. And then once we do this, we're just going to attach our top to our bottom. But actually, before I do that, I do think that I want to make my, I'm going to want to make my, what is it? Want to make my casings for my elastic first, because when I attach the top to the bottom pieces, I want that to be it. You know what I'm saying? So now I do have the piece with all the pleats up towards me, so that way I can control that piece of fabric a little bit easier. Okay, so we got all of our pleats in there. Now I just want to make sure that this is, look like my bottom piece shifted a little bit. Okay, and so now that I've made sure that I caught all of my pieces together, we're just gonna zip through the rest. Okay, so there is actually a huge difference between my front piece and my back piece. So I'm gonna see what that looks like on the other side as well, because it might be just something that I messed up, and it might just be by design and I just neglected to remember that because, again, we didn't read any instructions. So we'll figure it out after we get all the pieces together. So now I'm putting together the other side so that we can sew that together. And what I might end up doing is just doing like a slight curve with this front and the back pieces. Hold on a second. I think I shifted that. Okay, and I did shift that down. So I want to take this out. So what I mean by shifting it down, so like this is this back piece, and then this is the top front piece. And as I was moving it, I accidentally moved my hand. So I'm just going to go ahead and make that correction. Okay, pull that out. Okay. And I do want to just make sure that I reline that back up so that way that doesn't happen again. Okay. And so I accidentally pulled it when I was just trying to make sure that my bottom pieces were lined up properly. Okay, and that looks much better. Okay, so now all the pieces have been caught. Now I just want to see how things are lining up. Because again, my back piece was really significantly longer than my front piece was, so could be by design, it could be user error. And it looks like it was by design because I have the same gap down here. So what that means is I'm going to take this back over to, I'm actually probably going to do it with my, no, I'm not going to do it with my serger first. And so just so that you guys can see the gap that I'm talking about, it's like right here. So there's about a 1-inch gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply hem it up this way. So that way you can't, so it has like almost like a little gradual type of feel there. All right, so now this is constructed. So let's flip it right side out so that we can take a look. Oops, here we go. Okay. So turning this right side out. And so we've got, I feel like Like YouTube needs to give us the option to zoom out. So here we have, as you can see, we've got, we'll be able to show a little bit of thigh. So this is what the skirt piece looks like on. And so we're showing a little bit of thigh, not too much, not too much. You know what I mean? It's a Catholic wedding. Okay, friends, we're not out here, you know, showing a whole lot, but I feel like that's just enough, right? Just enough. And it's long. This is a long skirt. All right, so let's go ahead and make our casing. But oh, let's just try it on, just see. Let's just see. Let's just see. Because like I almost feel like this would be cute as separates too. I did make this skirt just as a skirt before, and I loved it. So this is kind of the look that we're going for. So this is going to be it. And then we're going to have our sleeves here. I love it. I'm loving it. So let's go ahead and finish this up. Of course, we're going to do our casing there. Then we're going to attach our bottom to our top, as well as smooth out that bottom hem. Then we'll be done. And I really feel like this was like pretty fast. Good morning, Amani. All right, so let's go ahead, detach this big piece here. We're only doing a 1/4 inch elastic. So I'm going to be doing a 5/8, like making my, my goodness, I'm over here trying to do the math in my head. Okay. So our casing is not going to be very big. Just trimming down my tails because I don't need them. And I'm going to fold this over. There we go. And I am going to keep it on this, this 3-inch or 3 stitch length. I'm going to move, I actually think my needle is fine right there. I think I actually might make this more of a 3.5. And I should have moved my, hey, get down. Get down. I swear, this cat be thinking all of my shit is just for her enjoyment. You know what else would have been a really cute pattern? That Estelle pattern I did from Paper Cut Patterns. That would have been cute too. I'm thinking about that because I'm doing this sleeve. And I did a bishop sleeve for that pattern as well. But then I decided that I did not want the elastic in anymore. And so I took the elastic out of the bishop sleeve. And it's like this very dramatic like sleeve situation that honestly I love. But of course, the reason why I took it out was because I did not give myself enough space to breathe, like up in that elastic. All right, so we've got that done. I did not close it, obviously, because I've got to thread my elastic through. Do the same thing with this other sleeve. So now I'm taking more seam allowance, or rather I'm making it bigger by this seam because of the shape of the sleeve. Like if I were to do it the same way, it wouldn't fit right. If I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so we're almost finished with this casing. All right, so now let's go ahead and grab some elastic so that we can thread that through. Okay, so I'm going to be using just some elastic right here. Thank you, Lala. So to measure this, because I did not like how it fit the last time as far as elastics went. And I think that it's great when designers, and I've done this with my most recent pattern, we give really great suggestions as far as where we think the elastic should go or how long it should be. The best way to do it is to simply just measure it around where you would like for it to go and subtract about an inch from there. And so that is what this measurement is. And if you're someone who is more sensitive to tightness, things like that, you don't even have to subtract the inch. You can just kind of leave it as it is. Because not everybody likes to have things that are super tight fitting. For some, it feels really good. For some, it does not. So be mindful about what feels good on your body and, do it that way. Also, I think that these gold safety pins, I think that the gold safety pins are thicker than the silver ones. And I think that they just last longer and they make things that much easier. So now we're just going to thread our elastic. I feel like I could have also done like 1/2 inch elastic as well. I wanted to do 1/4 inch because I don't think that I have enough. Let's see. Yeah, this is like about all the 1/2 inch elastic I have left. So I feel like that was a good idea. Let's see. And I do even have one of those other threader ones, like that purple thing that goes through. Obviously, I'm looking for it because I don't normally use it. I feel like when we're threading elastic, sometimes all of these extra tools are helpful, and sometimes really all we just need was this basic safety pin. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to just pull this out. I'm going to thread the elastic through the other one, and then we're going to go ahead and seal that up. So again, so I had my niece over on Tuesday, and sometimes I forget that my house is not set up for kids. It's very different when you have babies over because things are different at their eye level. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at all of the stuff that she took out. Like she grabbed first of all, I have not been able to find my seam ripper in forever. Sis found my seam ripper. Make sure that you don't lose the end of your elastic. She found my seam ripper. I was like, dang, girl, you're going to find it all. Okay, so now it's time to go ahead and stitch together our elastic. I want to be honest, sewing together 1/4 inch elastic is not my favorite thing in life. So this might not be pretty. Like, we're secretly saying a prayer that I did not just like lose one of these ends of elastic. So I'm overlapping it 1 inch. People use, you know what I'm going to do? I have some washi tape on the floor next to me. And this is a trick that I will sometimes do when I have washi tape that is close to me. Washi tape, for those that don't know, is plastic-free tape, which is why I love it, because it is pretty eco-friendly. So I'm going to take a piece of washi tape and I'm just going to wrap it around my elastic to kind of hold it in place. So here we have our elastic. And this 1/4 inch will always be like the death of me. So I'm overlapping it about 1 inch. I'm just going to simply wrap this around so that it'll hold it in place as I stitch it together. One of the things that I hate is like when I put this elastic underneath and it starts to shift and I'm like, oh. Now I'm not going to switch my stitch to being, I'm just gonna move my needle over because whatever. I'm not switching my stitch to be zigzag at all. Okay. That one is done. And I can just leave the tape on because, again, because it's washi tape, I feel like it's fine. Let's go ahead and close this casing up. Okay, and that's done. Trim it down. Just trim this side so that we don't have so much to go back and do. And this looks so pretty to me. Like, that is just excellent, excellent sleeve. All right, so let's do it on the other side now. Take my washi tape. Overlapping about 1 inch. And even if you're like someone who's like, oh, well, I don't want my washi tape to stay on inside, it's okay. Because like washi tape will literally rip off very, very easily because, again, paper. Okay. So now that we've got that in place, I'm going to start from the area that I taped together. Again, this is like going to be my demise, but I'm like, it's so necessary. If you don't have nails, I highly recommend getting one of these like purple things. They're like toppers for your finger. Oh, wow. I found my other seam ripper. So proud of me. My Bernina seam ripper, and not because I'm a brand ambassador with them, but yeah, my Bernina seam ripper, I think it's because, okay, so I am going to switch my stitch to being a zigzag. because I think it'll be easier for me to catch the way that this is lined up, which is fine. Just so long as they're on top of each other some way. There we go. Let me go back to straight stitch. And so if you don't like having the tape on, it does tear off really easily. So tear that off. And so tearing off very easily. Let's close up this casing as well. And I am just going to recenter my needle. All right. And I'm just trimming down my my threads again, because once this is done, y'all, we're finished. The top part is done. I am going to go ahead and just find my center point of the front. I know where my center point of my back is already, obviously, because we've got our whatchamacallit there. We have our seam there. We do not have a center seam point for our front piece, and I do still want to make sure that we line that up appropriately. So just grabbing my seams, pulling that together, and finding my center point. I'm just going to go ahead and put a clip in there. We're going to come on back to Bernadette and attach our top pieces to our bottom piece there. Yeah, Amani, I have to be honest, like, so I have most of my stuff high up, like most of my stuff is on this wall that's behind me, or rather in front of me. But ooh, sometimes your girl forgets. And so now I'm just finding my center point in my front pieces of the skirt as well. So whenever you're having a top and bottoms kind of situation that you're adding together, lining up your seams, your center points is very, very important. I feel like it's even more important right now for me because I did blend sizes, and I want to make sure that as I'm attaching, my top and bottom pieces for those blended sizes, I'm able to evenly distribute whatever I need to in order to make sure that it looks correct, right? Because my waist is in one size, my hips and my booty are in one size. But on me it's blended. So, of course it can be blended elsewhere too, So again, for this, I have my two center points matched in this area that I'm just going to and also because this is two pieces of fabric that we're putting together with another two pieces of fabric. If you are someone who likes to clip, pin, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you're able to get it on correctly, make sure that you do. Y'all already know that I'm like YOLO. So the maximum amount of clips that I'm going to put in here is 4. I am going to make sure this back seam lines up as perfectly as we can get that to. And then, of course, our side seam as well. And so now that I've got my 4 important clips, I'm going to start sewing at the front area first, because if I'm being completely honest, the front area is just kind of what matters to me most. Now, based off of this, it looks like I'm going to have to stretch my top in order to get it to fit that bottom piece, which is appropriate for, of course, or rather on par with my shape. So I'm like, we did it right. So I am going to put my skirt piece on the bottom, and then just making sure, again, that everything is lined up like it's supposed to be, because I'm going to be pulling from this top. Now, generally speaking, you should not have to pull whenever you're sewing. Yes, blah, 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 blah. Unless, of course, you're blending sizes. And we got to make it fit, you know? And I do feel like doing it this way gives it a more evenly and natural pull. Especially because we're doing this in a fabric that, you know, it can be tricky to work with. Velour or velvet, whatever, is not always the easiest, and that's fine. So you gotta do what you have to do in order to make fetch happen, right? Again, just relining it up, making sure that everything goes together well. The main thing that I'm watching, though, is making sure that my fabric, my main fabric for the top part, is lining up well with the main fabric, or the top fabric for my bottom piece. Now listen, the bad girlies use awls, AWL, to like kind of tuck things in. I was like, yo, I gotta get me one of those. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, that is like super helpful. You know, to make sure that everything is in there correctly. They be pushing the fabric down and stuff. I'm like, yes, that makes a lot of sense. I need that. And then again, we're just going to stretch this last piece evenly. And also, when you stretch like velvet, velour, whatever this is, whatever we're calling this fabric, it does almost like French terry does. And when you stretch it, it like rolls or shrinks and like does weird things. So something to be mindful of with this fabric. All right. That was our final stitch. Let's try it on. I'm like, we're going to do a quick try on as well as we can, because I'm not taking no clothes off. Okay. Whew. Now, of course, the real question. Good morning, Missy. The real question is, what shoes am I going to wear with this? Because I don't like to wear heels anymore. So, pull this down, put this on. And this is the look. I really feel like this is way appropriate. Y'all know I like to wear things that are a little, not fully scandalous, but I feel like it's giving drama appropriately, right? We've got a little puff in the sleeve area here. It is lower cut. I'm liking how I pleated this side here, because it's giving some drape action there. So yeah, I'm really liking this. And again, we've got the sway back. Put my pants up some. We've got the sway back already built into the back. So I'm feeling like success is had. So feel successful. So that is it. This was fun. Yeah, I need to get, listen, I need to get in all. Well, I have one, but one of my girlfriends was like using her all, and I was like, ooh, I want one that looks like that. That looks really cool. It's like this wooden one. The handle looks like it's like ergonomic. I'm like, yeah, I love that. So this is again the Scarlett top, and I paired it with the Kelli bottom from Patterns for Pirates. One of the other things that I like is I'm sitting down. I'm not sitting like a lady, but like you can't see my goodies either. So I feel like that passes the chubby girl test, right? So yeah, I'm loving this. I will make sure that all of the deets are in the comments, or rather in the caption section, so that if you all are like, hey, I want to hack a pattern and I want to have a similar look, especially because fall wedding season is upon us, as we can see right here. I can't tell if this is off center or if it's my bra. I think it's my bra. Yeah, it's my bra. So if you're like, hey, I want to recreate this, again, the top is the Scarlett from Made for Mermaids. The bottom is the Kelli dress from Patterns for Pirates. I will make sure that all links are in the caption. And that is it for me. So thank you so much for joining me to sew this morning. I'm like, is this where I got this from? Because Lala, you know I live in Atlanta too. I'm like, is this where I got it from? Maybe that is. Oh, no, you're saying you bought your all from Fine Fabrics. Okay. I got to go to, I mean, I always need to go to Fine Fabrics, right? But yeah, so thanks so much for joining me today. And I'll be back next Thursday. Have a great rest of your week.